Beyoncé the Baker, a tale from 10,000 years ago. Like and subscribe. The Valley of Flower and Fire. 10,000 years ago, in a time when the world was young and untamed, there was a village nestled in a lush valley called Sunspire. The valley was a paradise, with rivers that sparkled like liquid silver, fields of golden grain swaying in the wind, and forests teeming with life. The people of Sunspire were simple and hardworking, living in harmony with the land. Among them was a young girl named Beyoncé. She was known for her curious mind and her golden hands. While other children played games or helped their families hunt and gather, Beyoncé spent her days experimenting with the grains her people harvested. She had discovered something extraordinary. When she crushed the grains into flour, mixed it with water, and placed it near the fire, it transformed into something warm, soft, and delicious. The villagers called it bread, and Beyoncé was its first creator. But Beyoncé wasn't satisfied with just making bread. She wanted to make it better, to infuse it with flavors and textures no one had ever imagined. She experimented with wild honey, crushed nuts, and dried berries. She even discovered that letting the dough sit for a while made it rise, creating a lighter, fluffier loaf. Her bread became the talk of the village. People would line up outside her family's hut, hoping to taste her latest creation. But Beyoncé's true gift wasn't just her skill, it was her heart. She believed that baking was more than just mixing ingredients. It was about sharing love and joy with others. The Harvest Feast. One year, the harvest was more bountiful than ever. The chief of Sunspire, a wise woman named Amara, decided to hold a grand feast to celebrate. She called upon Beyoncé to bake the centerpiece of the feast, a loaf of bread so magnificent it would be remembered for generations. Beyoncé accepted the challenge with excitement. She gathered the finest grains, the clearest spring water, and a handful of wild herbs she had found in the forest. As she kneaded the dough, she sang a song her grandmother had taught her, a melody that seemed to make the dough come alive. When the bread was baked, it was a masterpiece. The loaf was golden and round, with a crust that shimmered like the sun. Inside, it was soft and airy, with a flavor that made everyone who tasted it feel as though they were eating a piece of the sky. The villagers cheered and declared Beyoncé the greatest baker in Sunspire. But Beyoncé knew her journey was just beginning. The stranger from afar. One evening, as Beyoncé was gathering herbs by the river, she met a mysterious traveler. He was tall and thin, with a cloak made of feathers and a staff carved with strange symbols. His name was Zephyr, and he came from a distant land beyond the mountains. "I have heard of your bread," Zephyr said. "They say it is the best in the world. But I have a challenge for you. In my land, there is a grain that no one can bake. It is called starseed, and it grows only under the light of the full moon. If you can bake starseed into bread, you will unlock a secret that will change the world." Beyoncé's eyes sparkled with curiosity. She had never heard of starseed, but the idea of a grain that grew under the moonlight fascinated her. She agreed to travel with Zephyr to his land and try to bake the starseed. The journey to Moonlit Valley. The journey was long and treacherous. They crossed towering mountains, vast deserts, and dense forests. Along the way, they faced many challenges: wild beasts, raging storms, and even a river that seemed to flow backward. But Beyoncé never lost hope. She carried a small piece of dough with her, kneading it every night and singing her grandmother's song. The dough became her talisman, a reminder of her purpose. One night, as they camped under the stars, Zephyr told Beyoncé the story of the starseed. "Long ago," he said, "the starseed was a gift from the moon goddess to the people of my land. It was meant to bring unity and peace, but no one could unlock its power. They say only a baker with a pure heart and a song in their soul can bake it into bread." Beyoncé listened intently, her resolve growing stronger. She knew she had to succeed, not just for herself, but for the world. The Moonlit Valley. Finally, after many weeks, they arrived in Zephyr's land, a valley bathed in silver moonlight. The starseed grew in fields that sparkled like stars, and the air was filled with a sweet, otherworldly fragrance. Beyoncé gathered the grains and began to work. At first, the starseed dough was stubborn. It refused to rise, no matter how much Beyoncé kneaded or sang. But she didn't give up. She remembered her grandmother F's words. "The secret to baking is not just in your hands, but in your heart." She closed her eyes and poured all her love and hope into the dough. She sang a new song, one that came from deep within her soul, and then something magical happened. The dough began to glow, brighter and brighter, until it filled the entire valley with light. When the bread was baked, it was unlike anything Beyoncé had ever seen. It was luminous, with a crust that shimmered like the night sky and a texture so soft it felt like a cloud. But the most amazing thing was its taste. With every bite, people felt a deep sense of connection to each other, to the earth, and to the universe. Zephyr smiled. You have done it, Beyoncé. The starseed bread is the bread of unity. It brings people together and reminds them of the magic that exists in the world. The return to Sunspire. Hit the subscribe button. Beyoncé returned to her village with a bag of starseed grains and the knowledge of how to bake the bread of unity. She taught her people the recipe, and soon the bread became a symbol of peace and harmony. Travelers from far and wide came to taste it, and Sunspire became a place of joy and celebration. Beyoncé's fame spread across the land, but she remained humble and kind. She continued to bake, always experimenting and creating new recipes. She even built a school where she taught others the art of baking, ensuring that her knowledge would be passed down for generations. The legacy. Beyoncé lived a long and happy life, baking bread and sharing her songs with the world. Even after she was gone, her legacy lived on. The villagers passed down her recipes and her songs, ensuring that the magic of Beyoncé the baker would never be forgotten. And so, 10,000 years later, people still tell the story of the girl who baked bread that tasted like magic, the girl who brought the world together with her love and her songs. Her name was Beyoncé, and she was the greatest baker the world had ever known. The end. Like and subscribe. The Eternal Flame. In the heart of Sunspire, a small flame burns eternally in Beyoncé's honor. It is said that as long as the flame burns, the spirit of Beyoncé the baker will watch over bakers everywhere, inspiring them to create with love and joy. And on quiet nights when the moon is full, the villagers swear they can hear her song, carried on the wind, reminding them of the magic that lies in every loaf of bread.